Lori here. I'm here to start a new reading vlog. I'm going to try to do a 24-hour readathon vlog. Today is May 24th. Tomorrow's Memorial Day. It's the only day I can foresee that I have off, like, until school officially ends. So, want to get the most out of my time. But it is the last week of May. I have been on a middle grade reading challenge, and I'm kind of done with that. So I'm going to kind of dive into a couple of different things. I don't really know what I'm in the mood to read, honestly. Like, I have a lot of contemporary books planned for June, so this is kind of like my middle week. I don't know how much I'm going to read, but here are my plans. The first book I'm going to start reading is Reflection, which is the twisted tale that's based on Mulan. That's the first book I'm going to start with. It's the one that's, like, I'm the most interested in. So I'm excited about that. And then the next one is Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. This will probably be the second book that I read, hopefully. This is the Owl Crate book for April, I think. We're still waiting for our May boxes, but this is the April box, and I love this cover. I actually listened to her do a Facebook Live with Corey on Owl Crate channel, and I really liked it, so I'm really curious to dive into this read. I did have an arc from it, so I was even more intrigued by it. So this is one that I'm super excited. This is also the book that they're reading for the Owl Crate Book Club, the official one, and I do have to read at least 12 chapters by Thursday. But I'm so bad at stopping reading books, so I may just wind up finishing this and then kind of chatting along in the chat. And then, depending on time, I also want to add The Mall by Megan McCaffrey to this. This is a romance being set in the 90s. I grew up in the 90s, so I really like this. It also reminds me of Stranger Things when they had The Mall. The Mall was like the big setting for it. So these are kind of the books that I'm going to be pulling from. I also am going to try to catch up on my CW shows, which I'm really excited about. So that's kind of my plans right now. I don't really have a lot of things planned tomorrow. It is Memorial Day, but we are still in social isolation, so we really can't do anything. Nothing's really open. And I don't have to do any grades tomorrow, so that's really exciting. But I am definitely going to tackle Reflection tonight. I'm going to start right now. I have 2 videos that I want to watch, and then I'm probably going to dive into watching The Flash, because I think that show is completed. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to start reading Reflection, and I will give you guys my thoughts when I get to about 10% in, unless there's page numbers on this. But I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Right here, just checking back in. I did wind up reading about 56 pages in Reflection, A Twisted Tale. This is one of the Twisted Tale books that Disney puts out. Every book, like, tackles a different question. So this question is about Mulan, and it's what if Mulan had to go to the underworld? So it's been a while since I've watched Mulan, so I really should watch that maybe like today or tomorrow. That's probably gonna be on the agenda once I get done with my CW shows, once I start watching them. But this question, so this is like following their big battle, and it's what if Shang, I think it's her love interest, whoever her love interest is. What if he was near death, and the only way Mulan could save him, because she feels like it's her fault that he was put in this position, is to go to the underworld. So that's really where the book starts, and now we're always getting into the questions. It's always interesting because it's been a while since I've seen Disney movies, so I never know, like, how this question is going to be represented. Some of them is at the tail end of the book. Like, that's how the Little Mermaid one, the question happened at the tail end of the novel. Tale as Old as Time, it happened like at the beginning of the story. The Sleeping Beauty one, it happened like at the end of the story. So, like, you never know where the question's gonna, like, come in. But I always like it because I feel like it fleshes out the characters a little bit more, especially the female characters. And I always normally like it because you also get other characters' perspectives. Like, I love that in the Little Mermaid one as well. Like, I thought it was really, really fun. But it's been a while since I read the Mulan story. So, and this is supposed to be the summer where we were getting the live action one. But with all the current COVID stuff and all the movies not being premiering, we're not even sure if we're going to get it. Well, we'll get it eventually, but, like, we don't know how. So we're about 56 pages. We are about to enter the underworld, which is that's not a spoiler because that's what the question is. But I'm really liking it. I'm right now she seems like a little bit isolated. Also, no one knows everyone still thinks she's a boy at this point. So curious how that's gonna develop. But I'm gonna keep reading. I'm also watching Reagan's 24-hour readathon vlog, which inspired me to do my own. But yeah, I'm really I've put off reading these for so long, but I'm actually really liking them. So happy that I picked it up. I'm gonna go back to watching Reagan's readathon vlog, and I will update you guys when I read about 100 more pages. Bye. Right here, just checking back in. It is about 8:14. I did one up, getting up to page 80. I think it's 88. Sometimes this doesn't always work. Yeah, 88, and I'm on chapter 9 in Reflections. So the story is becoming a little bit more apparent to me. But basically, Mulan has gone to the underworld to try to save her companion Soul. And now her mission is she has until the sun rises for her to find his soul and get them both out of the underworld so he can survive. I always love mythology. I'm really curious to see how this book progresses. It reminds me a lot of there's one, I think it's one of the Percy Jackson books. I can't remember which one, but when they're waiting in line, so they're also in the underworld. It reminds me of that book, but I'm really curious. I love Mulan as a character. I think she was like probably one of the earlier Disney princesses that like I remember like coming out in the movie theater. A lot of the other ones were like before I was born, but I do specifically remember Mulan and Pocahontas. Those were the two that I remember as kids. And The Lion King. But yeah, so I'm really liking it. I think it's a very fun take. You're not getting as much as Mulan as a character as you got with the other ones, like in the other series, but you are knowing that she does feel super guilty about what happened to her companion. I feel like she likes him. I feel like this is the guy that she like winds up dating at the end of the movie, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen Mulan. But really liking it. I'm also gonna dive into watching The Flash so I can give my eyes a little bit of a break. But yeah, that's my plans. I'll update you guys when I get up to page 100. Bye. Sorry here. I did wind up getting up to page about 100 in Reflection. My eyes are super tired. I think it's because I did 2 bike rides. And I'm just tired. So I think I'm going to stop reading for the night. Probably watch, I don't know, something mind-numbing on Netflix. But I'm going to go do that. And I'll definitely update you guys tomorrow morning. I have to film a few videos in the morning. I actually have off tomorrow, but so probably gonna wake up at my normal time just to like keep my sleep schedule somewhat normal. This is the hard thing with working from home. Like my sleep schedule got all messed up, and it's not gonna be right until I get back into my normal routine, which won't be till I go back to work or the summer comes, whatever comes first. So I'm gonna go relax for the rest of the day, and I'll update you guys tomorrow morning. Bye. Here, I'm back. It is Memorial Day. It is about 9:30. I just wound up waking up. I was not feeling my best yesterday. I had a little bit of a headache and I was just super tired. But I did wind up watching a couple of episodes of the new show Sweet Magnolias on Netflix. I really like it. I think that's another show I'm probably gonna binge once I catch up on all my other stuff. But I found it so super cute. I really love the cast of characters in that show a lot. But I did wind up getting up to page 115 in Twisted Tales Reflection, which is the Mulan book that I'm in the middle of reading. Thoroughly enjoying it. I'm liking how now we are diving into Mulan's character a lot, but we're also diving into her. It's been a while since I watched Mulan, but I think the guy she eventually falls for, Shang, I think his name is. There was another S name that tried to kill him, so the names are a little bit confusing. But I really am liking it. I hope to tackle more of it later, but I have to go film some videos for the end of the week, so I'm gonna go do that and I will come back and report back. It's still really cold and kind of a dreary day, but I do hope to squeeze in a bike ride later, but I'm gonna wait until it gets a little bit warmer. So I'm gonna go film my videos and I'll talk to you guys when I'm done filming. Bye. Right here, I'm back. I did want to filming my videos. It's still super cold, which is not ideal, but I'm going to dive a little bit back into the Reflection and see how far I can get. I'm also going to watch my CW shows that I have been neglecting, especially because since Stargirl started this week, so I don't want to fall too far behind. But I did wind up getting up to 28% in Reflection, so I'm gonna go do that. And when I get up to probably 50% or if something amazing happens, I'll update you guys. But I'm gonna go do that, and I'll talk to you guys later. Checking back in, I did wind up playing a little bit of Animal Crossing, and I'm actually gonna go for a bike ride. I also did watch, I think it was the season finale of The Flash, or we have one more episode of that, so I think I have one more episode. But I'm gonna go for a quick bike ride, listen to my podcast that I'm in the middle of, come back and keep reading Reflection. That's the plan. I hope it gets a little bit warmer so I can read outside, but we will see. The weather in May is never my friend. But I'm gonna do that, and I'll report back when I come back from my bike ride. Bye, guys. Reading up to page 200 in reflection. I am liking it. I'm not loving it. I've said this before. I sometimes struggle with battle sequences in books, and that's all Mulan is. So I probably should have known that going in. But I do like that we're diving into both characters on like an individual level. I think that that's super interesting, and I do like that we're learning more about Mulan as a character. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll report back when I make it to like 250. Bye, guys. Checking back in. I did get up to page, it's about 3 o'clock, and I did get up to page 300 in reflection. I am liking it. I'm liking how we're diving more into Mulan's character. I'm liking how we're really having a lot of discussion about her and her choosing to be a boy, but what that means. I'm liking that. I've never been very, very fond of big battle scenes, and they literally are trapped in the underworld, so it's a lot of fighting, and I sometimes get a little bit lost in the details in that. Like, it's just not as it's not as compelling for me to read, and I find myself more skimming it. But I do really like that she is like the main character, and we're getting a lot in her head, and we're learning more about her as a character. I also like that the underworld is using like other things from her life as like a torture device in a sense. Like, I don't know how to say that, but I am gonna go do a quick bike ride, and then I'm gonna come home and finish the last 100 pages in that. It is like ebook pages, so it's probably more like a little bit more than that, but that is my plan. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will check in with you guys when I come home from my bike ride. Bye. It's Lori here, just checking back in. I just want to say that I did want to finishing my first book of this readathon, and it was Reflection by Elizabeth Lim. You know what? The second half of this book definitely impressed me a little bit more than the first half of this book. I really liked the focus on Mulan coming into her own and really figuring out what she wants out of life. I thought that that was a really fun twist on it, and I really like the underworld exploring that. I like how the end came together. I kind of miss Mushu in this book a little bit. He wasn't really a main character, but I did like it overall. I would say this is probably the first half of the book. I would probably give like a 3, and the second half of the book I would probably give like a 4. So I'm gonna split the difference and say it was a 3.5 read. Still really like how these stories really dive into the main female character a little bit more than you normally get like in a Disney movie, because I feel like it's so much more complicated. But I really did like it, and I'm really happy that I read it. I still have to read a couple of other ones. Like, I still have to read the Cinderella one, the Snow White one, the Peter Pan one, and the Frozen one. But I'm going to take like a 20-minute break, go relax for a bit, and then choose what I'm gonna read. It's either gonna be The Mall or like a contemporary, because that's kind of what I'm in the mood to read right now. But I am going to read for the rest of the night. That's my plan. It is Memorial Day, but we're really not doing all that much. So that is my plan of attack, and I will check in when I decide on what I'm going to read. I'm deciding between a couple of different books. But I'll talk to you in a bit. Bye. Sorry, I took a shower, changed my clothes. I think I've changed my clothes like 5 times in this video because the temperature changes so dramatically in May. I've said this before. But I am going to pick up The Mall by Megan McCaffrey. I'm actually on a blog tour for this. I don't even know when this book comes out. I feel like on my blog post is in August, so I feel like that's when it comes out. A lot of Wednesday's books did get pushed, so this book was supposed to come out in June, but now I think it's coming out in either July or August. So, I'm going to start reading this. I know nothing about this. I know that it takes place in the 90s. That's all I know. I grew up in the 90s, so I think it'll be fun, and it reminds me of just the title, The Mall, reminds me of the mall in Stranger Things, which I know took place in the 80s, but still, it just reminds me of that. So I'm going to dive into this, and when I read 50 pages, I'll give you guys an update. But I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Come back in. It's about 7 o'clock. I am in the middle of watching an episode of Katie Keene. I think it's actually the season finale. Keep being unsure when season finales are. But I did want to do a quick check-in and say that I did start The Mall by Megan McCaffrey. I grew up, I was a teenager in the 2000s. Like, that was my age where I was, like, really a teenager. But I did grow up in the 90s. So, like, it's just fun to see, like, Sam Goody and The Mall. Like, that's just, like, a fun setting for a book. But it basically follows this girl named Cassie. It's, like, she's going to college in the fall. So, it's her summer before she goes to college. And for the past 6 weeks, she's been in quarantine, ironically, because she had mono. And on the first day back, she loses her boyfriend, her job, and her whole life. Like, everything just kind of goes off the rails. So she's kind of trying to get her life back together. But it's just like a slice of life book. I like that it's set in the 90s. I think it's just like a fun concept for a book. I'm sure that teenagers nowadays will read this and be like, oh my god, that's what your life was like. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to keep reading it. And I'm probably going to keep this reading vlog going until I'm done with it. But I do have to work tomorrow. But I'm going to go back to watching Katie Keene and reading The Mall. And I'll update you when I get up to page 50. Right now, I'm on page 34. Not much has happened yet. I just met her. She lost her boyfriend, her job, and now she's kind of searching for a new job. And now we're learning about a former friend from her past that they have not been close in some time. So I'm going to go back to reading and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. It's Lori here. It's about 9:10 and I am going to stop reading for the night. I have to read like 2 more pages, but I do want to give you guys my brief thoughts on The Mall by Megan McCaffrey. I've never read anything by her before, but I'm really, really liking it. But it's basically set in the 90s, which I think is a perfect time period for a book. So basically, the 3 things I like about contemporaries normally is that it has a cool situation or a cool job, which this book has both. It has like set in the 90s, which is kind of a cool concept, but also there is a job element, which I really, really like. So one thing I really, really like about it. One thing, I always like books that focus on self-discovery, and this character, Cassie is she's kind of on the precipice of like everything's kind of like changing. Like she lost her boyfriend, she lost the job she was planning on having, she's going to college in the fall, so everything's kind of changing for her. And then there's like a mystery or like some type of element that's kind of capturing the story. And they're kind of looking for money. They're kind of looking for like a hidden treasure that is kind of setting them on this adventure. You also have a new friendship that's developing. And my last thing that I love about this, like all contemporaries, but this specific contemporary in particular, is the whole story basically takes place in one location. Normally you're like trapped somewhere and you can't leave. But this book, it's not, they're not trapped, but the whole book, well, at least like the first 88 pages, the whole book basically takes place in the mall. I think that's a really cool concept for a novel. So I'm really liking it. I'm thinking it's just like a fun read, one that I will probably read more of tomorrow and probably like make some more progress in. But I'm really happy. It's finally getting nice here. I spent all day outside reading, and that's what I really love to do in the summertime. Hopefully the parks will open soon and I can go read in the park, which is something I love doing. But yeah, I'm going to put this book down and go watch the end of Batwoman, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. I'm outside. I'm working. It's 11:30, but I did want to do a quick update. I did get up to page 120 in The Mall by Megan McCaffrey. This book is just so nostalgic because I used to love to go to the mall with my cousins and spend all the time, but it's so funny just like hearing them talk about Sam Goody and B. Dalton. The funniest thing, if you ask my cousins about B. Dalton, the one thing they'll tell you is that they could literally leave me there for hours on end and go shopping, and I would still be stuck in B. Dalton looking at books, which not much has changed. Except now I found friends that will stay with me in a bookstore for 4 hours. But I'm really liking it. I think that it's definitely focusing a lot on self-discovery. There's still the mystery element about the treasure that they're finding. Cassie's world is very much like in upheaval. Like a lot of things are like not going away according to plan. She's still very excited about leaving her town come the end of August to go to college in New York City, but her world's very, very much in a little bit of turmoil, and you keep seeing like these, sorry, my phone keeps going off, but you keep seeing like all these like smaller characters kind of have like tie-ins to it, which I'm really liking. So I'm gonna go keep reading, and hopefully I'll make a little bit more progress once work is over. Bye guys. I'm back. It's about 3:30. I'm taking a small Animal Crossing break. I'm done with work for the day. But I did make a bunch of this reading progress in The Mall. I'm now on page 222. This is like the perfect summer read. Like, I think if you were born in the 90s or lived in the 90s, I think it will have a lot of fun callbacks. Also, if you're a big fan of like rekindled friendships or like self-discovery or just a really, really fun concept YA novel, which is what I normally like, really, really like it. I also really like this book because it's a little bit unique because it's set in like 1991, which I think is a cool time period. But also literally the whole book, other than like 1 or 2 scenes like on their way to the mall, the whole book takes place in the mall, and I think that's kind of a fun concept for a novel, considering the characters aren't like trapped in the mall, they're just kind of like working in the mall. I also love that like all of the chapters are titled. You don't see a lot in YA books. You see it a lot in like middle grade, but I do really like that as like a touch because I think it's a nice way to sum up the story. But I am gonna play a little bit of Animal Crossing because I have some adventuring to do. But I'll check in with you guys when I get back to my reading. Bye, guys. Here, I'm back. I did actually wind up finishing The Mall by Megan McCaffrey. I do have to read this book for a blog tour, but boy am I happy that I picked it up. I thought it was such a fun read. I love concept YA novels. Like, I've always loved that. I love YA novels that have kind of like a trick or kind of like a concept, and this book was so fun. Like, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought this book so focused on self-discovery and friendship, and you know, I just love the setting of the 90s. I grew up in the 90s, like a little bit later than this. I think this book is set in like, I think it's set in 91, I think, and I was like growing up in 1999. But boy, was it a fun read. I just love the setting. I love that the whole book took place in the mall. Thought that was kind of a fun concept. If you're looking for just a fun summer read, I would definitely recommend you pick this up. I'm still debating about my next read. I'm just debating. So I'm going to kind of take a moment to decompress, and then I'm going to pick my next read and then kind of figure out what I'm going to do for the end of the week. This is the week of BEA, and I had so many fun plans that none are happening. So I'm trying to like make my reading life a little bit more exciting, but I'm going to pick my next read and kind of figure out what I'm going to do with this reading vlog, and then I'll come back and update you guys. Bye. Slurry here. I'm back. It's 6:13. I did take a shower. I'm gonna try to pick up Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. This is the Owl Crate book for the month of April. It's also the book that they're reading in the group, so I really would love to like make some progress on it. But I'm also going to try to be a little bit better. Last year I read like no contemporary, and I really want to try to change that. So I'm going to try to read this book before I kind of dive into my contemporary reads for the month, for the summer. I am still going to have like a genre balance like I want to, but I want to at least focus on reading more contemporary in the summer than I did last summer. I don't know much about this book. I know I originally got it at ALA, and I know it has to do with like magic, but I haven't read Catherine Purdy's other series, but I am really excited for this one. I know it has a couple of different point of views, and that's really all that I know. So yeah, I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to read about 50 pages. Ooh, there is a pretty map. And I'll let you guys know my thoughts. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll report back when I make some progress and decide if I'm going to stick with it. I think I probably will, but we will see what my reading desires want. Bye. Right here. It's about 8 o'clock. I did wind up reading a little bit of Bone Crier's Moon. I got up to page like 30. This is definitely like a very, very rich fantasy book that like I really have to focus on. But it basically follows these three characters. I'm not quite sure how to say her name. I think it's Elise, Sabine, and then Bastian. Those are the three point of views that we do follow. I always like books that have different point of views because I think it kind of fleshes out the world a little bit. But basically, this follows these two girls, Sabine and Elise, and their best friends. They are bone crier witches, which basically means when you kill a creature, you kind of imbue their attributes, I guess. Like if you kill like a hawk, then you have night vision. And you have to, before you are like a certain age, you have to kill 3 creatures to become a bone crier witch and go through your trial. And then once you go through your trial, you're able to ferry the dead into the other world, into heaven or hell. But before that happens, you're basically paired with someone, like a young man, and then you have to kill him, is what I'm getting. But I'm really liking it. I think right now I'm probably more connected to Sabine's point of view. Sabine is the best friend who's really this is not the life she wants. She doesn't want to kill anyone. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. She had enough issues she has one of her graces, and then Elise has all 3. So she's kind of going through that process, and then the man that you're paired with is the only man that can bear you children, but you have to kill him. So Elise is right now on the cusps of that. And then the other point of view you follow is Bastian, and Bastian's father was killed by one of the Graces in the past, and he like witnessed it, is what I'm guessing, because that was like the prequel. So I'm really curious to see about Bastian now in the present, because we only saw Bastian in the past. Sorry if that was a little bit of a confusing summary, but I'm really liking it. I love rich fantasy worlds by far, and I love books about young girls that have strong connections together, which definitely with these two are. It does remind me a little bit of the Winwitch series by Susan Dennard, but that's one of the series that I thoroughly enjoyed. I really love the dynamics between the two females in that book. Actually, that's another book I have to add to my TBR. But I'm going to keep reading, and I'll check in with you guys when I get up to page 50. I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Bye. Here I'm back. It's about 8:50, and I did want to stop reading for the night just because I got to get up to page 47, which was my goal. I wanted to get around page 50 in Bone Crier's Moon. I'm thoroughly liking this book, like a lot more than I was predicting. I really love rich fantasy worlds. I always have. I love books that focus on strong female characters, but I also love the very different point of views that we have. We have the Elise character, who I think is very, very strong, is very, very determined, is the character you kind of expect in a YA novel. But then you also have Sabine, who is more like me, who doesn't like, but like I think I'm more of a Sabine in the story. But I really like her dedication to her best friend, and I do like her uncertainty about this world that she's in. And then you have Bastian, who's dealing with the after effects of the Bone Criers, and I think that that's really interesting. So she's about to make her choice, like she's about to call her lover, I guess you'll say. But I'm really liking it. I'm definitely gonna have to check out Catherine Purdy's other series, which I don't think I know much about, but I'm thoroughly impressed, and I can't wait to keep reading more. I'm really glad that I wound up picking this up. This is the Owl Crate book that they're reading this month, because all the COVID stuff, everything's a little bit delayed, but I'm thoroughly impressed, and I'm happy that I picked it up. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna go finish watching Agent Carter and go watch some Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. It's Lori here, just checking back in. I am about to start work, but I did want to say that I didn't wind up reading anything more of Bone Crier's Moon. I'm still on chapter 5, but I did wind up finish watching Agent Carter, which was a long time coming. But I actually really enjoy that show. I think I love all the character dynamics, and super bummed that we never did get a third season, because I would have loved to see where it goes. But I'm happy that I can finally rewatch Endgame tonight, because I've been waiting to rewatch Endgame, but I knew that there was going to be a podcast episode inspired by that, so I wanted to wait. But yeah, I'm going to dive into Bone Crier's Moon while I wait to start teaching. It might rain today, but I am going to hope for a bike ride, and I hope I get to work outside later today, but I'm at the mercy of the weather. But yeah, so I'm going to spend today reading after work, maybe go for a bike ride, play a little bit of Animal Crossing, trying to get used to this quarantine lifestyle. But I am happy to report that we did move into stage 1 here on Long Island in Nassau County, so we will see how long it takes to go into stage 2. I also did talk about my Florida trip and my Universal trip. It's still planned. I'm still technically going at the end of July. As long as nothing horrific happens, I think I should still be able to go, which is just something to look forward to. And this weekend is virtual BookCon, so I'm excited for that. I also did enter a giveaway to win a couple of the highly anticipated reads. I doubt I'll win any of them, but I did try. So yeah, I'm gonna go read Bone Crier's Moon. I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Just checking back in. I really did not update a lot today, and that's because BEA kind of virtually took over my life a little bit. I was teaching, but I was also going through the BEA online stuff and seeing what I could request and what I could get. So that was kind of a lot of my day after work was over. And I did wind up reading a little bit of Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. I'm really, really enjoying this book. I got up to page 104. I'm really happy I didn't read the summary about this book, because I have no idea what's happening, but I really do like all 3 point of views, or I should say I don't know what to expect, which I'm really, really enjoying. I'm thinking all 3 point of views are super interesting. I'm really loving Sabine as a character. She's a little bit more like an underdog. I'm also really, really liking Bastian and his friends. I'm really intrigued by this. I really am liking it. It's a book that I could feel myself devouring, and that's just what I'm gonna do. But yeah, so I'm gonna kind of go read, and I'll update you guys when I get to 150 and let you guys know my thoughts. But a solid read. I'm really glad that I picked it up because I'm really, really captivated right now. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Lori here, just checking back in. It is 8:40. I am so engrossed in this book, like so engrossed. I got to page 182 in this book. It is just so compelling. Like, I'm really captivated by the world. I love the magic system. I will be warned, it does have some elements of violence towards animals, but and killing of them, like, and like kind of taking their bones. So just as like a little bit of a warning, I know some people have some, like, that's like a triggering to some people. So just as a warning, that is the magic system in this book. But it's not hindering my enjoyment of it, if that makes any sense. But I do love, like, this book has a bunch of some of my favorite tropes. It has, strong female friendship and a best friend trying to save her best friend. I really like Sabine as a character. I think she is very much someone like me. If I was ever in a fantasy world, I would be a Sabine because I don't like violence. I'm not always like, that's kind of me as a character. But then it also has like a chosen one element for Elisa, or Elise, however you say her name, and then it also has like a quest element. So there's a bunch of different tropes that I'm really enjoying. I also like that it has like a female-led society. That's super cool. I also like Bastion, Jules and her brother are also dealing with a lot of revenge elements. It's a very complicated book, but one that's just really, really working for me right now. I'm sure there's gonna build like a love-hate romance is probably gonna develop between Bastion. That's just a hint because that always happens. But I'm really, really liking it. I think I'm gonna put my book down as much as I don't want to, and try to start Agent Endgame, because I haven't actually ever rewatched Endgame, but I'm gonna rewatch it so I can listen to my podcast. Tomorrow is the first official day of BEA, so I'm going to see if they do anything giveaway wise. I did actually get a couple of e-arcs today, which was surprising, so I'm gonna keep a nose on that tomorrow. But I'll definitely check in with you guys I'll definitely check in with you guys tomorrow and let you guys know if I have made any progress on Bone Crier's Room. Right now I did get up to chapter 20, which was my goal because that was I think I had to get up to chapter 12 for the Owl Crate Book Club, but I did get past it. I'm definitely not putting this book down. It is quite long, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I didn't wind up updating it all today. I was really, really busy with doing some work for school. Thursdays is always my busiest teaching day anyway, just because I like to prep everything for the next week. And it was also a lot of like requesting books through virtual BEA, so it was just a busy day. I didn't wind up reading a lot. I wound up listening to my audiobook, which is from the YouTuber Angela Braniff, and where she discusses the adoption of all her kids, which I'm really, really enjoying. I have like an hour left. I'll probably finish that early tomorrow morning. Late last night, I also did watch an hour of Endgame, and I forgot how long that movie is, but I did read a little bit of Bone Crier's Moon. I'm now on page 206. So I'm going to go back to it, and when I get to 250, I'll update you guys. Still really enjoying it. I really like the pace. I really like the characters. I just don't want to be too spoilery because I don't want to spoil anyone, but I'm really, really liking it. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Here, just checking back in. I did wind up getting to page 256 and Bone Crier's Moon. I'm really enjoying this book, but it's definitely a book I really have to focus on. It also has a bunch of different, it's like you're reading a story from like so many different point of views, and they all make logical sense to me. So it's not like anyone's a villain or anyone's like a hero, because everyone is fighting for what they believe is right. And as a reader, you kind of are able to see all sides of this. So, like, it's very interesting because you have the Bone Criers that just want to, like, ferry the dead to their proper homes. And then you have Jules and Bastion, whose father was killed due to some other antics or behaviors of the Bone Criers. So they think Bone Criers are bad. And that one element of them is bad, but then you also have the element that they're needed to keep peace in the world. So it's a very complicated world, and like I really love all the point of views that we're getting. I still really like Sabine as a character. I think she's probably my favorite, and I really love the strong female friendships that we have, but then we also have a very, very strong friendship between Jules and Bastion, which has some romantic elements as well. So I'm really liking all the characters. I also really like Marcel. He doesn't have a point of view, but I really, really love him. He's like such like a quirky character who likes to read, and he's kind of determined to find out more about the Bonecrier myths, which is really, really fun. If I'm remembering correctly, Amy Kaufman is doing a video chat on a group that I'm in, so I'm gonna probably try to wait for that. But I'm still gonna keep reading Bonecrier's Moon. It's definitely taken me longer than I thought, but I am really liking it. It's definitely a book I have to focus on, so I'm gonna do that, and I will report back when I make it to page. I would love to get it to page 300 before I go back to watching Endgame. So that's my plan of attack, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Here, well, I didn't get it to page 300, but I did get it to page 280. So now the characters are all in very, very different locations, and I'm really like now the drama has come. Like there's a lot of different plot points in here, and there's a lot of mysteries. I'm still really liking Sabine a lot. I'm also really liking Bastion. I'm really curious like where the last 200 pages of this book is gonna go. But I'm really, really liking it. So I'm gonna finish reading this tomorrow. I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning before I go to work. It's also the second day of virtual BEA, so I'm gonna keep a nose out, but I don't know if that's gonna mean anything. I did get a couple of tour arcs today, which was fun. But I'm gonna update you guys tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow I can finish the audiobook I'm listening to because I only have an hour left. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Bye. Here I'm back. It is May 29th. It is just technically the last day of BEA virtually, but I'm not sure what that entails, so I'm just gonna keep my nose out. But I am still teaching. I have like a break in my teaching schedule, so I wanted to check in and say that I did make a bunch more progress on Bonecrier's Moon. I'm on page 312. This might be one of my favorite books of the year. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving the world building. There's so many unexpected twists that are just shaking me, but I'm loving all the characters, like loving them. The only thing that would have made it a little bit better is if we got Marcel's or Jules' point of view, because they're kind of in a location where we're not knowing what's happening to them right now. But other than that, I'm thoroughly enjoying this book, and I can't wait to read more. I'm on chapter 36, which is way past the Owl Crate read that I was supposed to be doing, but I just could not put this book down. So I will update you when I get to page like 350 and let you guys know my thoughts, but I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. I'm back. Today was a very, very busy day work-wise, but I'm happy to report that I did actually finish a book. I finished my audiobook of I don't know the name of it, but I know it's written by Angela Braniff, who's a YouTuber that I follow. She wrote a book about her unique family. It's like a unique story. I really like her as like a YouTuber. I think she's fun. It's fun background noise. I love big families. I love families that include adoption in them. I think that it's a very, very interesting journey. So I wound up finishing that audiobook. It wasn't that long, but I am gonna make some more progress on Bonecrier's Moon. It's now almost 4:30. Virtual BookCon does start tonight, so I'm going to go to a panel, and hopefully during that panel I could chalk out the rest of Bonecrier's Moon and start a new reading vlog for you guys. I also did get a bunch of stuff today, like NetGalley-wise from BEA, so I might actually put together like a BEA NetGalley haul for you guys, like all the books I was given by publishers, and I did enter a lot of giveaways, and I'm entering a lot tomorrow, so there's a chance I will have physical arcs to show you guys. We will see. I'm really enjoying this book. There was like a couple of plot twists that just happened that I'm a little bit confused about. So I'm hoping the end of this book kind of fleshes it out a little bit, just because like something happened and I'm just like a little bit unsure like what that means. But I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to go to my BookCon panel, and then I'll check in with you guys and probably wrap up this reading vlog. But yeah, see you guys in a bit. Bye. Here, it's 6:50, and I did wind up finishing Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. I wound up really, really loving this book. I thought that it was such a great read. I love the world building. I love the Ferrier myth. I love the characters. I thought it was great. I thought the end added a lot of like quick plot points that I wasn't necessarily like expecting. So I felt like it wasn't necessarily rushed, but I just wanted more time, and I felt like there was like one major plot point that like wasn't set up very, very well. But I wound up giving it 4.75 stars. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite reads of the year because I was captivated from page one. And I also like it was normally when I read, I like read as like background noise, and that's what normally how I read. But I couldn't with this book. I had to like put on stuff that I had watched a million times because I really needed to focus because this world building was so complicated. I wound up loving it though. I'm definitely gonna check out her other books. I wasn't interested in them before. I will give a trigger warning if you are sensitive to animals being killed. This might be a trigger warning for you, but I wound up really enjoying the book, and that didn't take away from my enjoyment. And I sometimes struggle with that elements in books, but I didn't struggle in here. But very, very good. Sabine is still my favorite character, but this book definitely took an unexpected twist at the end that I was not expecting. This was like a week-long reading vlog. I started the week doing a 24-hour readathon vlog, and then I just kind of extended it. But in addition to that, I read Reflection, which is the Mulan Twisted Tale. I wound up liking that one. I didn't wind up loving it. I wound up giving it like three and a half stars, I would say. It was a fun read. I still like learning about Mulan. I definitely still have to watch that movie. But it was fun. And then the other read that I wound up reading this week was The Mall by Megan McCaffrey. I think this one's coming out in August, and I'm definitely on a tour for it. But this one is just a 90s pop, like a 90s themed contemporary novel, which I wound up really, really liking, and I wound up giving up this 4 stars. So yeah, I'm gonna end this reading vlog and go start my BookCon weekend reading vlog, and I'll talk about that there. But I hope you guys are staying safe and being well, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.